Hello, welcome back. This is another lesson of the Go Math book. We're in lesson 5.2, this one dealing with factors and divisibility. We saw in lesson 5.1 about factors. Factors are numbers that you multiply together to get another number. Well, if you know the divisibility rules, it's going to be easy to see if one of the numbers is a factor or not. We have to memorize some rules, and these rules are: a number is divisible by 2 if the number is even. Remember, even numbers end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. A number is divisible by 3 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3 or is a multiple of 3. A number is divisible by 5 if the last digit of the number is 0 or 5. A number is divisible by 6 if the number is even and is divisible by 3. That means if it follows the rules for 2 and 3. A number is divisible by 9 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 9 or a multiple of 9. And I just added this because it's pretty easy. A number is divisible by 10 if the number ends in 0. So let's do an example. If we take the number 12, let's see. Is it divisible by 2? Let's see. Is the number even? 12 is even. It ends in 2. That means yes. I'm going to put a Y for yes. Is it divisible by 3? Let's look at the rule for 3. The sum of the digits is divisible by 3. Well, if I add the digits of 12, 1 plus 2 is 3. And 3 is divisible by 3, right? 3 is a multiple of 3. So we're going to say that yes, the number is divisible by 3. Is 12 divisible by 5? Let's see, let's rule for 5. The last digit of the number has to be 0 or 5. And the last digit is 2, so no. It does not follow the rule for 5. How about 6? The rule for 6 says the number is even and is divisible by 3. That means it follows the rules for 2 and 3. And this one follows the rule for 2 and 3, so it is divisible by 6. The rule for 9. The sum of the digits is divisible by 9 or is a multiple of 9. We did it already. 1 plus 2 is 3. And 3 is not a multiple of 9. So no, the number is not divisible by 9. Is the number divisible by 10? Well, the number has to end in a 0 and this one ends in a 2. So that means no. And how is it this helpful? Well, if you're getting the factors of this number, so we can say that 1 times 12 is 12. 2, the number is even, therefore 2 is a factor. So I can find 2 times what is 12, and this one is pretty easy, that will be 6. 5 is not a factor, so I cannot put it in here, right? 6 is a factor, it's already here. 9 is not, 10 is not. That's why these rules are very important. But since they're important, we're going to have to memorize them. Let's do another exercise. Let's do the number 45. Is the number even? No, it ends in a 5. Remember, even numbers have to end in an even number, and this one is odd, so it's not divisible by 2. 3, we have to add the numbers. 4 plus 5 is 9, and 9 is a multiple of 3, so yes, it is divisible by 3. Rule for 5, it has to end in 0 or 5. This one ends in a 5, so yes, it's divisible by 5. Rule for 6, it has to follow 2 and 3. It follows the rule for 3, but not the one for 2, so no, it's not going to be divisible by 6. 9, 4 plus 5, we said is 9. So yes, it is divisible by 9. And 10, it has to end in a 0. This one does not end in a 0. So we know right now that 3, 5, and 9 are factors of 45. And then, for example, remember when we're trying to find 3 times what is 45? Sometimes we don't even know that 3 is a factor, but if you can add the digits, and the sum that you get is a multiple of 3, then you know 3 is a factor. It's very important to memorize these rules. Let's do one more example. I think we can get 2 more. Let's do the number 23. Okay, 23 is not even, so it's not for the 2. 2 plus 3 is 5, and 5 is not a multiple of 3, so that's a no. For 5, it has to end in 5 or 0, and this one is in a 3, so nope. 6, it has to follow 2 and 3, and 2 and 3 are no, so 6 is going to be a no. About 9, 2 plus 3 is 5, and we have to have a multiple of 9, so it's going to be a no for 9. 10 has to end in a 0, and this one ends in a 3, so nope. None of these numbers are factors of 23. So there's no rule. You really have to go one by one and see which number gets. And hopefully you know that 23 only has two factors, 1 and 23. We call this number prime numbers, but that's another lesson. Let's do one more exercise. Let's do the number 87. Okay, how about 2? The number is not even, so that's a no. 3, let's add. 8 plus 7 is 15. And is 15 a multiple of 3? Yes, definitely. So it is divisible by 3. How about 5? The number ends in a 7, so it's going to be a no. For 6, it has to follow 2 and 3. It doesn't follow 2, but it does follow 3. So unfortunately, that's going to be a no. It has to follow both. For 9, we have to add the numbers. 8 plus 7 is 15, but 15 is not a multiple of 9. For 10, the number does not end in a 0, therefore it's a no. So 87 is only divisible by 3 right here. Okay, hopefully you understand. And then for homework, you can pause it in here. I want you to get the list. You're going to do a paper with 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, and 10, and just write yes or no. For the numbers, 28 and 60. So 2 lists. Remember, you have to memorize these rules. Very important for finding factors. Okay, until next time, I'll see you. Bye-bye.